as far as per pupil spending, we need to make sure that we're doing our best to lobby Tallahassee to ensure that we get that number up. I think Tallahassee did a good job this year in raising our teacher salary. I know the governor signed a bill that would get the bottom level teachers up to 47.5, and that's a great first step, but we need to do more, and we need to advocate better for funding in Tallahassee. Now we're faced with a budget crisis right now coming out of COVID, but we need to make sure as a district that not only are we advocating for more support from Tallahassee, but we're also spending the money that we have in our district very wisely. So we have a $3.2 billion budget, and we need to ensure that we're using every single one of those resources in a way that's going to benefit students.
Hey, it's funny that those numbers correlate so closely, right? Because if you're not paying teachers, and then look at the outcome. I think one thing we have to do is really advocate to our legislator and to our governor. We need to really speak out. I think teachers have a strong voice, but they don't feel like they do. So we need to really advocate together for that. I believe that, I know that my 30 years of experience will help. I will tell you that I have worked with private, public, and charter schools in the last 6 years. When a child comes in, I can kind of tell you where they are. I have a really great eye for curriculum and instruction. I mean, I'm proud to say at my center, 100% of the kids who've applied to Berkeley, the best private school, have gotten in. So I understand curriculum. I understand instruction. The reason I'm running is because I believe the public schools are the best schools possible. So I'm going to put that time and energy to make sure that, that we put our students first. I have no political aspirations besides being on the board. I have no outside interest of development or anything like that. My interest is solely on supporting the children, our students, families, and that's our future. So I think that we need to speak out with the legislator, and we also need to work really closely at the schools and improving the morale right now with what's happening in our schools. I will say, no matter what anybody says, I think the morale is probably the worst it's been in many years. And it's not necessarily because of the pandemic. I think there's a combination of factors. I think we're putting more expectations on teachers. And on top of that, they're also feeling very insecure about their jobs. I know that just recently I spoke to a principal, and he had to let 6 teachers go this week. And the plan is to let 12 more teachers go at the end of the term. I don't think people are being very transparent about the losses, and I don't know why that is. So I think that we need board members who are going to be pro-teacher, who are going to support the teachers, who are going to support the supporting staff, who are going to support the parents and the community. I think an example of this, and I don't want to talk about my opponent, but the other day at the board meeting, Lynn Gray wanted an extra 30 seconds for teachers, and that wasn't even voted on. I mean, teachers need a voice, and that really bothered me. I think we need to have less paperwork. I mean, documenting every single pre-test, every single iReady test, all this paperwork is providing teachers less time to teach and instruction and more time to document for testing. So I think we need to get away from paperwork. I think it needs to be less scripted. Obviously, we want to pay our teachers more. That's very important. But I think if you ask most teachers, they didn't go into teaching for the money. They went in to make an impact in classrooms. And what bothers me is with the new teacher pay, we're paying brand new teachers to attract them. But what about retaining those teachers that have been there for a long time? I know that for me, when I was a teacher of 11 years with a master's degree and a team leader and a department head, I was only making a few thousand more than a brand new teacher. So I think we need to make sure that the teachers that are with us, that have been with us, that they feel respected, that they feel appreciated, and that we support them. So that means less paperwork, more support, and just making sure that people like you, the PTA, and also bringing in community to support those teachers. So I think it's a combination of everyone working together. But definitely teachers are very stressed out, and we need to lower that stress for them.
During this recent pandemic, our teachers have been champions Our principals and our teachers have been champions, having to do things that they've never had to do before, whether it's, teach e-learning, teach brick and mortar, or some teachers actually doing both, and some teachers doing both at the same time. So we're asking a lot, and we have to be able to reward those teachers and praise them. They're doing a great job, but we also have to, make sure that we're providing a supportive environment to every single teacher. One of the things I'm most proud of is if you look at our HR reports, that in District 1, we have the lowest level of vacancies and we have the lowest turnover rate. So that means that, the principals in our area, the school board member in the area, we're supporting the schools and giving the teachers the everything that they need. We know that teachers don't go into teaching for the money, but we also have to make sure that they go into teaching so they feel rewarded and they feel supported. And that's one of the things as a school board member that I push for the whole time, is to give them as many supports as I possibly can from the school board level all the way down to the classroom. I do not believe teachers should be armed, and that's one of the reasons why we are, as Hillsborough County, leading the state in security protocols. We have armed security officers at every school. We have some of the best safety protocols. You can look across the state. Hillsborough is always leading in that area. So I'm proud of the work that we've done to keep our teachers and our students safe while they're at school. In no means, like I said, our teachers do a lot of work. We ask them to do a lot. I would not support arming them in our classrooms.
My answer is absolutely not. I worked at Franklin for many years. I've worked at a dropout prevention program. I worked in the suburbs. I think that there's too much opportunity for something really horrific to happen. I think the chances of a teacher stopping someone in a huge school, more likely the police will be there, someone who's, the police will come and take care of that. I think it's just a huge risk factor. It's a huge liability. And I absolutely do not believe that teachers need to be armed. I think that students can get hurt, teachers can get hurt. You never know what's going to happen in the classroom. I've seen great teachers, but I've also seen teachers who don't have great classroom management. And I think if students know that there's guns there, I think it's a recipe for disaster. That is such a huge concern for me, because I know there's a 56% increase. I mean, even recently with the pandemic, I think we're seeing more and more and more students who are being Baker acted. There's mental health issues. I even know of one of my daughter's friends, a horrible experience occurred recently. So I think it's all around us. I mean, it's everywhere. It's affecting probably 1 out of every 5 families. I think we need to create more programs. I think we need to start at a younger age. I heard that McKittrick had a program, and hopefully that wasn't cut, where students are learning about self-discipline, about calming down, about, basically learning how to deal with their emotions. And I think we need to start at a very early age. Mental health is a huge issue in America, and I think it's been spotlighted more with this pandemic. So I think what we need to do is create more programs. The other day I was at the crisis center as one of the candidates, and I thought a lot of kids don't know you can call 211, those kinds of numbers. And I remembered when I was there, but I thought, I don't really see that out there enough. I think people are scared to talk about mental health issues, and it needs to be at the forefront, because I don't think there's a single person that hasn't been affected by that in some way with their family or their outer family. And it really starts with children. If children are Baker acted at a young age, we want to make sure that they have support so that later on it doesn't become worse.
This is a great question, because actually we're working on school board policy right now so that we could address the number of Baker Acts that we have in our school district. And how we can do that is provide more mental health services. So right now, we have law enforcement kind of leading the charge on Baker Acts. We'd like to reverse that and actually put our mental health counselors at the forefront. We've gotten some more state money to invest in mental health programming in our schools. So we want to make sure that our students are getting the mental health services in the schools, so that law enforcement doesn't have to come in and initiate those Baker Acts. So we're working on a policy right now, and that actually should be passed at the next board meeting or so.